Hello students, we have already completed the bijective function and we have already solved some examples. Yes, it might have cleared your doubts. Okay, perhaps you have already done the exercise. Now we will discuss about inverse of a function, existence of inverse of a function. Though I have already told you to delete this in this academic year, it is deleted from your syllabus, the inverse of a function and composition of function. But I feel it is essential, it is necessary to have a knowledge about inverse of a function, when it exists and what is that. Okay, let us start. Suppose f be a function from x to y. Let f is a function from x to y. Then it must be a relation from x to y. It must be a relation from x to y. So f inverse is a relation. It is a relation from y to x, defined as f inverse is equal to yx such that xy belongs to f, right? It is yx such that xy belongs to f. We have discussed in relation chapter. Here you see, yes, it is a relation from y to x. Now the question arises whether this relation will be a function from y to x or not. The way we have defined f inverse will be a function from y to x or not. Let us see when it will be a function, what are the conditions it required to be a function. Okay, suppose yes, what is its domain? Domain of this relation f inverse, obviously it is y, and range of the relation will be a subset of what? X. It will be a subset of x, right? It will be a subset of x. Okay, so let us test. Yes, since f is a function from x to y, the way we have defined f inverse, it must be a relation from y to x. Yes, let us recall when a relation will be a function. F is a function from x to y. What are the characteristics? It is no doubt a relation from x to y. What are the characteristics? That the essential conditions are domain of this relation is equal to x and f is not 1 many. F is not 1 many. So f inverse will be a function from y to x if domain of f inverse is equal to y and f inverse is not 1 many. It is not 1 many. That means one element of y cannot be related to more than one element of x. This is the condition. So if f inverse will satisfy these two conditions, that means domain of f inverse is equal to y and f inverse is not 1 many, then its inverse will be a function from y to x. Its inverse will be a function from y to x. Okay, now the question arises, domain of f inverse. You see, domain of f inverse is equal to what? Range of f if f is a relation from x to y, and f inverse will be a relation from y to x. So domain of f inverse will be range of f, and range of f inverse will be domain of f. So domain of f inverse will be range of f. Actually, domain of f inverse should be equal to y. It should be equal to y. So when that is, so domain of f inverse is equal to y if range of f is equal to y. Yes, when domain of f inverse will be equal to y, when range of f is equal to y. But when range of f is equal to y, f is called what? That is if, yes, that is if f is surjective, is onto or surjective. It is surjective. If f is surjective, then range of f is equal to y, and hence domain of f inverse must be equal to y. So this is the first condition which is required for inverse, existence of the inverse. First condition, that your f should be surjective. Again, f inverse is not one many if f is not many one. If f is not many one, if one many, it will be one many. When f is many one, so f inverse will not be one many if f is not many one. If it is not many one means, that is if f is one. That is if f is one or injective. Yes, this is the second condition. So f inverse will be a function if f is both injective as well as surjective. So f inverse will be a function from y to x if f is injective, is both injective and surjective. That is, f is bijective, right? And this is the criteria. This is the criteria which required for existence of inverse, right? That means if f is a function from x to y, then its inverse will be a function from y to x if f is a bijective function, right? If f is bijective, then its inverse will be a function from y to x. Okay? Yes, this is the condition. That means every function may not have an inverse function, but if the function is bijective, then its inverse must be a function. Let us see some examples so that it will be clear. This is the theory part. Yes. Yes, now we will take some examples. Yes. Suppose we'll take an example. Let x is equal to x1, x2, x3, x4, right? And y is equal to y1, y2, y3, y4, right? So this. Yes. Let f1 is equal to say x1 y2 x2 y2 x3 y4. Yes, and x4 y3. Yes. Now you see, what is the domain of this function? Domain must be x1 x2. Yes, x1 x2 x3 x4, which is equal to x. Yes, is it one many? No. x1 is not related to any, x2 is not related to any other element, x3 related to only one element, y, x4 is related to only one element. So it is not one many. Thus f1 is not one many. So f1 is a function. Is a function, right? It is a function from x to y. But it is, what will be its inverse? Let us test physically. Let us see. Now f inverse, f1 inverse. Yes, it will be y2 x1, y2 x1, right? Then y2 x2, right? And y4 x3, yes, y3 x4. Yes, it is a subset of y Cartesian product x. Y Cartesian product x. It is a subset of that. So clearly f1 inverse, we have seen, is a relation. It is a relation from y to x. It is a relation. It is a relation from y to x. Now, let us see whether it is a function or not. Yes, when it will be a function? When its domain is equal to y. It is a relation from y to x. So its domain should be equal to y. Let us see what is its domain. Domain of f inverse. Yes, it will be y2, y3, y4, y2, y3 and y4. You see, it is not equal to x because x has another element x1. x1 is there, but it is not here. So it is not equal to x. So the first criteria is not satisfied, right? The function domain, it is not a function because domain of this relation is not equal to y. Sorry, it is y. Yes, y1 is there, which is not here. So its domain is not equal to y, so it is not a function. Let us see whether it satisfies the second condition or not. Yes, f inverse, y2 is related to x1, y2 is related to x2. y2 x1 belongs to f inverse, f1 inverse, and y2 x2 also belongs to f1 inverse. This implies f1 inverse is one many. It is one many. So second condition is also not satisfied by this function. So it is not a by this relation. So f1 inverse is not a function from. So f1 inverse is not a function from y to x. It is not a function from y to x. Why? Yes, because it is neither one many, it is one many as well as its domain is not equal to y. So both the conditions are not satisfied. So it is not a function. And of course you see, while we are, yes, we have taken the example, here you see It is 1 many because it is many 1. x1 is related to y2, x2 is also related to y2. It is many 1. That is why it is 1 many. Again, its range. Its range is y2, y3 and y4. y2, y3, y4, it is not equal to y. Right? So it is not. So let us take another example, f2. f2 is equal to x1, y1, x2, y1, x3, y2, x4, y4. Yes. Right. x1, y1, x2, y3 suppose, x3, y2, x4, y4. Here you see, what is it is it a function or not? x1, x2, domain of f2 is equal to what? x1, x2, x3, x4. x1, x2, x3, x4. Right? Which is equal to x. And range of f2. You see it is y1, y2, y3, y4. This is also equal to y. And f2 is not many one. It is also not many one. Right? Is it many one? Nowhere many elements are related to a single element of y. So many means more than one. Many means more than one. So it is not many one. So now let us see. What about our f2 inverse? f2 inverse will be what? Yes, y1 from definition, y1 x1, y3 x2, y2 x3, right, y4 x4. Yes. What is its domain? You see, domain of f2 inverse is y1, y3, y2, y4. It is equal to y, you see, it is equal to y now. Its domain is equal to y. Now what about the nature of the function? Yes, is it one many? y1 is not related to any other element, y3 is not related to any other element. Similarly, x2. f2 inverse is not one many. It is not one many. So f2 inverse is a function from y to x. That is, f inverse is a function from y to, symbolically we can write. It is a function from y to x. So we have, yes, derived this, that a function will, inverse of a function will be a function only when the function is bijective, otherwise not. If the function is bijective, then its inverse, if it is a mapping from x to y, then inverse will be a mapping from y to x. Okay, so let us come to our real functions and how we will, this is in tabular form, in set theory notation we have derived. Yes, let us see how we will get the inverse of a real function, right? Okay, yes, we will take an example. Suppose yes, we have given the example, f is a function from R to R defined as fx is equal to x square. fx is equal to x square. Yes, we have already seen that it is not it is not surjective. It is not surjective. X square is always greater than equal to 0 for all x belongs to R. So range of f is equal to what? This, the set of real numbers from 0 to infinity, which is a proper subset of R, right? So f is not surjective, hence f inverse does not exist. Its inverse will not be a function because it is not surjective. Also, it is not injective. Why? Suppose f of 1 is equal to 1, f of minus 1 is also equal to 1. So f of minus 1 is equal to f of 1, but 1 is not equal to minus 1. They are different elements. So f is not injective. It is not injective. So neither it is surjective nor it is injective. Okay. So it is not bijective. That is why its inverse does not exist. But the same function, if we will restrict, I have told you, the nature of the function, the type of function does not only depend upon its formula, but it depends upon its the sets on which it is defined, from which set to which set. Okay, suppose I will restrict its domain and codomain. It depends upon the nature of the function, depends upon the domain and codomain also, right? With the same formula, if I will map it from 0 to infinity, 0 to infinity, then f is bijective. How? We have already seen it. Okay? It's bijective. We have tested. Suppose for x1, x2 belongs to 0 to infinity, let f of x1 is equal to f of x2. This implies x1 square is equal to x2 square. This implies x1 is equal to plus or minus x2, right? But x1 is equal to minus x2 is impossible. Why it is impossible? It is impossible as x1 greater than equal to 0 and x2 is also greater than 0. Yes, it is impossible for x not equal to 0. For x not equal, if x1 equal to x2 not equal to 0. That means in that case they are equal. But if you take two non-zero numbers x1 and x2, x1 cannot be equal to minus x2 because both are positive numbers. Both are greater than 0. So how can you write x1 is equal to minus of x2? So this is impossible. Okay. So thus what we got, f of x1 is equal to f of x2 implies x1 is equal to x2. This implies x1 is equal to x2. So f is injective. So f from 0 to infinity to 0 to infinity is injective, right? Yes. Again, for y belongs to 0 to infinity, we will have y is equal to fx if y is equal to what? X square. Y is equal to x square, right? Yes, I will wipe out this. Y is equal to x square. That is if x is equal to square root of y, of course, plus minus. But you see, we can find out, yes, square root of y will be a real number. Square root of y will be a real number because y is non-negative. So every non-negative number has a square root. Yes, so it has a square root. No doubt, it may be plus or may be minus. But x is equal to minus y, square root of y is impossible, as f maps from 0 to infinity. Yes, x cannot be negative. It is a non-negative number. So x is equal to positive square root of y. Yes. Thus, for every y belongs to 0 to infinity, we have x which is equal to square root of y belongs to 0 to infinity, such that y is equal to f of x. So f from 0 to infinity defined as fx is equal to x square is surjective, because for every y here I am getting x here, which image is y, so it is surjective. Thus f is bijective, and hence f inverse will be a function from infinity to infinity, right? It will be a function, no doubt it will be a function, right? So yes, it will be a function. But how will you get it? How will you get the inverse of this function? Okay, let us see. Yes, we have already done it. Let us find it. Yes. Let f is a function from 0 infinity to 0 to infinity, defined as fx is equal to x square. So let y is equal to fx. This implies x is equal to, yes, f inverse y. I have not told you. xy belongs to f implies yx belongs to f inverse. What does it mean? This means y is equal to fx. This means x is equal to f inverse of y. Yes, mind it, f inverse, that does not mean that f to the power minus 1. No, it is not f to the power minus 1. It is just a notation which represents inverse function. Anyway, f inverse y, x is equal to f inverse y. Okay? Yes. Again, y is equal to fx implies y is equal to x square, and this implies x is equal to square root of y. X is equal to square root of y. Y is equal, first y is equal to fx means x is equal to f inverse y. Again, y is equal to fx means in place of fx we will write x square. Y is equal to x square. Then we have to express x in terms of y. X is equal to square root of y. So now this is x, this is also x. This is number 2. From 1 and 2. From 1 and 2. F inverse y is equal to what? Square root of y. Right? This is our function. Thus, f inverse is a function from 0 to infinity to 0 to infinity defined as f inverse x is equal to square root of x. Yes. So the inverse function of fx is equal to x square is f inverse x is equal to square root of x. You see, in place of y I have written x. No problem. This is a variable only. F inverse x is equal to square root of x. So this is the process. This is the way that we can find the inverse of a function. Yes, we can solve another example, then we will go to composition of mapping. Yes, you can solve this function. F is a function from R to R defined as fx is equal to 2x minus 3. Yes, we have proved that it is a bijective function. Then what will be its inverse? Its inverse is y is equal to 2x minus 3 implies x is equal to what?